Hi guys, this is Rossko from FNGR and I'm here today to talk about Generation Zero, Avalanche Studios' brand new game published by THQ Nordic, which is coming out tomorrow. Now, us at FNGR have been fortunate enough to have had the game for a couple of days, and we've been playing around with it over the weekend, and you know what? It's something. Our review isn't quite ready yet, because we haven't really had it all that long. So we're going to jump into that hopefully by the end of the week. But I wanted to just make this video and give you some kind of like quick impressions on what I think of the game so far. And it's a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest with you. You may have noticed in this particular moment that I'm showing now on the video, there's a lot of wandering around and a lot of looking into very empty garages and houses looking for things, and that's a lot of what you end up doing in the first hour or so of Generation Zero, particularly if you are doing it solo. This is obviously a 4-player co-op game. It's encouraged to be played in co-op, and it's pretty evident why once you get a little deeper into the game. There's not really an awful lot going on for the first hour or so. It does involve a lot of strolling about, I guess is the best way to describe it. As you can see, the map on the screen now, it's not an enormously large game, but it's definitely big enough to notice that it's very, very empty, and it's especially sparse. It's set in a town in Sweden in the 1980s that have been taken over by machines and robots and things like that, which were obviously made by man and then turned on man, etc., etc. You've heard it a billion times. And it's just kind of dull, I guess, right now. I had high hopes for this, but Generation Zero always interested me. It always fascinated me. I'm a big fan of Avalanche. I think what they've done before has been terrific, and so to jump into a big old 4-player co-op game that the whole team at FNGR could play together and try and understand the mysteries of what this game was and why the robots came down or were made in a building somewhere and then decided to turn on man and destroy everyone. That's kind of like half the mission of what you're trying to find out during this game. Oh yeah, you go underwater and then you just come straight back out again. The game just reloads you back into life, which is helpful, I guess, but kind of strange at the same time. The issue I'm having with the game is that it is very sparse and there's very little to kind of see and get excited about. Visually, as you can see, it's a beautiful game. It's really rather lovely to look at, and the music and the sound design is terrific. From a technical standpoint, Generation Zero is really quite special, actually. It's something. There's definitely been a lot of care and attention put into how this game looks and how it feels. It's just kind of, I don't know. You're seeing footage here from the first hour or so of the game, and I mean, this is what you do. You run around and you have yourself some decent weaponry, not a lot of ammo, so you got to keep your wits about you because there are machines on every corner waiting to tear you to pieces. And this is what it is, it's just exploring. And I don't know if I was particularly ready for that. I didn't know that was what this game was. I had a feeling that, it definitely had some RPG elements in the trailers and in the press releases and the coverage that we've done for the game in the past. I was definitely ready for that. But I wasn't ready for how long everything was going to take and how quiet the world is. And I was saying it on the FNGR podcast, which is available now. Episode 1 has us talking about this game a fair bit and what we've experienced about it during our playthroughs. And I think a lot of us kind of decided that there's still a lot to see. I've still got a fair bit to see. I'm not reviewing the game. Greg's reviewing the game, so Greg's going to be jumping into a real deep dive into it soon. But I feel like I'm not quite where I should be yet, if you know what I mean. I haven't reached that peak of what this game actually could be. And I feel like there's little stinking moments that could kind of come and go. And that was an area where there was a relay station which had these pylons where you could destroy in order for the robots to stop communicating with each other. So when they're on the attack, you can quite easily just get away. And so that was a bonus. And this is what I'm doing now is a lot of what the game is, and a lot of the game is opening things and looking for loot. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I feel like I haven't really seen the best of it yet, and I haven't really seen the mechanics that it's really trying to push just yet. There's a kind of buzz sentence that they're using to push the idea that if you take an enemy on and you shoot them in the head, but you don't kill them, they'll still have the mark on their head the next time you see that enemy, which is a cool thing. But obviously, you know, I haven't seen that yet because all I've taken on is these kind of foot soldiers that surround a lot of the areas of the opening hour. And you know, I think I'm about 3 or 4 hours into it now, and it is getting pretty intense. That is one thing that is worth mentioning, is the enemies. The enemies are a pain in the ass, and they will take you down very, very quickly. Health and ammo and stuff like that, it's pretty scarce, so you need to keep your wits about you. And if an enemy gets even a sniff of you nearby, they will track you down. They have these fantastic radars in order to catch you, and it's kind of a pain in the ass in certain aspects because you just want to get from A to B in this very empty world without being shot at by robots. But of course, you know, it's a video game, so it doesn't really offer you that lovely opportunity at all times. But it's, you know, the enemies are clever and they're smart, and the AI is tuned to a degree that they will just find you. They will just find you. If they think they know where you are, then they're just going to look for you. And so you need to either be very quiet, bombing around, or you need to just kind of stand your ground and make sure you've got enough ammo about you, or just run. You know, running away it's also a very good option when it comes to the enemies here in Generation Zero. I would show you some footage of the enemies, but in the footage that I've taken, at least in this particular moment, I didn't really come across all that many. So that's, again, a bit of an issue the Generation Zero has. There's a lot of walking around. There's a lot of sparseness. There's a lot of waiting for things to happen. And the game is big. You know, there's probably an awful lot to explore, and there's an awful lot to uncover about the mystery of what happened, where everyone is, and where they've all gone to. You find yourself going to bunkers and going to shelters, and they're all empty because, you know, there's no people around, which is kind of odd. In a world this big, you think that there were some people that would be around, you know, maybe. But this is what you do. You run around and look in houses, and you look for loot, and you look for clues. And there's no real direction. You just kind of get dropped somewhere, and the map isn't particularly useful. I found that the tracking has been switched off. I don't know if it has or not. It doesn't seem to work for me. And it's been a bit of a pain in the ass trying to get around with the help of the map. You know, it's a very survival RPG in that sense. You know, it's just, right, you've got time to just walk around and discover things and look for things, and exciting. I'm a bit of an advocate when it comes to games that if they don't grab you immediately, if they don't grab you, say, in the first hour or so, first hour and a half, then I tend not to carry on. And I have carried on with Generation Zero because I feel like I'm sort of climbing a hill right now, and I'm going to drop off at any moment and land into a whole world of absolute hellish nightmares. But at least, you know, at least there'll be something happening, which is something that isn't really happening right now whilst I'm playing, and it's a little worrying from that point of view, because I'm excited to see what happens. You know, I'm excited to see what happens next. It's just getting there is proving very tricky, in the sense that I really don't want to get there. I guess it's kind of difficult. It's like I really just want to get past this long slog of get to where the story's meant to be taking me, get to where the action is, and it's taking its sweet time. You know, in terms of the visuals, like I said, the visuals are fantastic. The world is designed well enough in the sense that you know that something pretty catastrophic has happened, and you are unpicking the pieces as to why you're still alive, and why the robots turned on the humans. And you know, these are moments that you learn as you play through the game. And something that I did discover, you may notice once you walk in here, that a lot of the houses are designed in a very similar way. You know, this is not uncommon, obviously, in life, but it's very strange in a video game because it just feels a little bit, you know. I say this as I go through one of the houses that doesn't actually have the same design as the others, which is very typical of me in terms of these videos. But there's a very common thread when it comes to the interior design of the houses, particularly upstairs. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack with Generation Zero, but you've got to be very, I think, very patient with it. It's a slow burn, definitely, and you got to give it the time it needs to kind of reveal itself to you. And it does involve a lot of walking around. You're holding a gun, and there's not many enemies to hit. So, you've got to be wary at all times. And the sound design is very cool, and it does alert you very quickly as to where enemies are, and if you're nearby them, and if they're nearby you, you'll hear them immediately. So you need to take cover or just run for your life if you don't have ammo. If you do have ammo, then you can attempt to take them down. The enemies are tough, and they won't go easy on you if they see you. Because it's very important in Generation Zero not to get caught, because these guys will take you down very, very easily. You can pick up syringes, which will allow you to revive yourself. Obviously, these run out. These run out quite quickly, so you need to make sure that you can either stock up on them quite a lot or just not get killed. And that's not easy when you're surrounded by these guys, because they can communicate and they can bring reinforcements if they're having a bit of a tough time taking you down. So that's about it for Generation Zero. It's coming out tomorrow. You'll see our full review coming up very soon on fingerguns.net. And until next time, I've been Rossko, and this has been Generation Zero. So thank you very much for watching. Bye.